Although I'm getting an echo in here, she has gained a great appreciation for Cabarrus County's history and its people in her work over the last 11 years. Following Denise will be John Urey. John is, it's kind of dark over there. John's a native of Concord, worked at the Cabarrus County Public Library for 25 years. He has an undergraduate degree from Belmont Abbey College and a Master of Library Science from East Carolina University. And let us welcome both of our guests this evening.
Thank you so much for having us tonight. I'm going to try to speak clearly, so that let me know at the back if you cannot hear me. All right. I do want to thank Joe, and I want to thank Michael Hansen for inviting both of us here tonight. So raise your hand if it's been more than a couple of years since you were last at one of the libraries. Okay, well, this is great. If it has been a while, you might be surprised by how much our libraries have to offer. It's, as they said, it's a lot more than just books. It is a hub for lifelong learning, community engagement, and access to a lot of valuable resources. Whether you're looking to explore new ideas, or stay informed, or connect with others.
What microphone?
The library offers free programs, technology, and services designed to meet the needs of our community. Tonight, we're going to tell you a little bit about it. If it's been a while, I hope you've learned something, and something that'll bring you back to the library, either in person or digitally. So it's especially apropos because this week, April 6th through 12th, is National Library Week. National Library Week is an annual celebration highlighting the valuable role of libraries, librarians, and library workers that play in transforming lives and strengthening our communities. It was first recognized in 1958. And this national observance is sponsored by the American Library Association, and it is celebrated in libraries across the country every April. This year marks the 67th anniversary of National Library Week. And it includes National Library Workers Day, which the Cabarrus County Library System celebrated yesterday. We had staff training day at the new Afton Ridge branch. That was my first time in there. So it's beautiful. Go. And it was an opportunity for us to enhance our skills and knowledge and professional growth. The day included a panel discussion with representatives from the North Carolina State Library, and sessions on topics such as strengthening workplace communications, de-escalating difficult behaviors, outreach and literacy services, and leadership and management skills. As part of the week-long celebration, today is recognized as National Library Outreach Day. We are honored to be here today to celebrate Outreach Day with you. It's a chance for us to share the library service in the community. And as we celebrate Library Week, we also want to recognize our friends of the library organizations. They are nonprofit organizations, and their generous support, advocacy, and fundraising efforts makes it possible for us to do much of what we do. From special programs and events to enhancements and rich library experiences for everyone. The Friends of the Library groups are made up of volunteers. If you are interested in actively supporting the library, contact your local branch to see how you can help. And I understand we have several Friends of the Library folks here tonight. So yes. Thank you. Thank you for your support. So the mission of the Cabarrus County Library System is to connect residents with information and resources that educate, enrich, and empower. The acronym for our guiding values is CHAD, C-H-A-D. C is for community. We provide resources and spaces that bring people together. H is for hospitality. We offer a welcoming, safe environment with friendly, knowledgeable staff members. A is for accessibility. We believe in equal and equitable access to education and information for all. And D is for diversity. We embrace the differences and similarities of people, of all people and ideas. So what does this all mean? Libraries play a vital role in lifelong learning, offering resources, programs, and spaces for individuals of all ages and backgrounds to pursue literacy, knowledge, and skills. So I'm going to give you a little bit of a history of the library, just kind of a brief history. It all began back on July 8th, 1902. That's when the city of Concord voted to appropriate $200 toward the opening of a public library and appointed a library committee. By the turn of the 20th century, communities in the South began to recognize that placing greater emphasis on education was a pathway to progress and economic recovery in the years following the Civil War and Reconstruction. Miss May Cole, a graduate of Greensboro Female College, was hired as Concord's first librarian at the salary of $8 a month, which is about $290 today. The first library was on the 3rd floor of the old Concord City Hall building. The library was just open a few hours a day and had a collection of about 600 books that were pieced together from donations. However, that early effort proved to be kind of half-hearted, and it only stayed open a short time and was closed within a year or two. And all the books went into storage in a house on North Spring Street, kind of by where Coltrane Web School is today. But in 1911, the library was reorganized with a board of directors appointed by the city's aldermen. And at this time, the library was fully funded by community efforts. The board and a dues-paying library association made up of civically active women raised money, solicited books, and sought to promote the library as, quote, a distinct community asset to promote literacy, information, and continuing education. Remember, this was at a time in the country when when our county was still mostly rural and education after 8th grade was not compulsory. So there was still a lot of folks who which could benefit from
Kind of covers all the
literacy.
bases, doesn't it?
So the library opened
Might be in good shape.
in that year, 1911, again, in a rented location in what was known as the Porter Building, which is, if you know, downtown Concord is where Ellie's Coffee Shop was located on South Union Street. The library board struggled with financing and received no funds from the town. Many citizens found it difficult to use library services because there were a lot of really bad roads making it difficult to get there. And people were kind of reluctant to pay taxes towards the library. But in 1913, it was finally placed on the city tax roll at $25 a month. It gradually increased over the next few years to $100 a month. The library would not get any county support until 1940. About this same time, it had outgrown its space in the Porter Building, and the members of the Library Association wanted a permanent library location. And so after much fundraising, they purchased an office in what was called the Smith Building, directly across the street from the courthouse. And it's where Two Gals Kitchen is now. I love the Oh, the Stones, excuse me. Sorry, whoa, don't tell me if I said that. Yeah, that's right, you were right. The Stones. Okay. All right, so they moved into the space where Two Gals Kitchen is now located. And by then they were up to 1,390 books. This photo shows the library in the Smith Building in about 1930. Local businessman William A. Smith, who was nicknamed Sandy Smith, built a brick and stucco house in about 1868 on the corner of North Union Street and Holly Lane, which is now Kalani Ave. At one time, as you can see in this image, it was encircled by a fence to deter livestock from wandering onto his property to graze. Yes, in those years, Union Street was dirt and livestock freely roamed around on the street. In 1940, local architect A.G. Odell Jr. remodeled the Sandy Smith House for the Concord Community Center. And that was thanks to funds from the WPA, the Works Progress Administration. It became home to the Concord Library, the Confederate Memorial Hall, and a YMCA swimming pool. The building was torn down in June of 1977 when the current Concord Library opened across the street. The community center location is now the parking lot of the Central United Methodist Church, and it's right where the War Memorial sits.
Yeah.
Let's see, the library started its first bookmobile service with a vehicle that was owned by the WPA. The program was so successful that Cabarrus County decided to purchase one of its own in 1943. Here it shows our bookmobile with students from A.T. Allen School. It was operated by the staff of the Concord Library and extended free library services to those who lived in rural areas outside of Concord. It made regular deliveries, I think it was every 2 weeks around the county. The bookmobile service lasted until the early 2000s. It should be said that until this time in the 1940s, the library only served Cabarrus County's white residents.
Wow.
Finally, in June of 1944, the George Washington Carver branch of the Concord Public Library opened in Concord's African American community in what was called the Red Shield Boys Club on Chestnut Street. By 1955, the location was deemed inadequate and a new library was built on the corner of Chestnut and Tournament Streets, next to the community swimming pool. Mrs. Benny Lee was its librarian for the next 10 years. And in 1976, while the Concord branch had over 45,000 books, the Carver branch had just a little more than 5,000. It closed in January 1977 with the opening of the new Concord Library building. The old Carver building is still there, and it is used as a community center for the First Missionary Baptist Church. In January, as I said, in January 1977, the new $1.1 million Concord Library opened and it was made possible in part by a $500,000 gift from the Cannon Foundation. In recognition of the support and in honor of the then late Charles A. Cannon, former chairman of Cannon Mills, The library was named the Charles A. Cannon Memorial Library. A few years later, in 1985, the Kannapolis branch, also named the Charles A. Cannon Memorial Library, was established with another gift from the Cannon Foundation. And at that time, Tom Dillard, who had been the director of the Concord branch, began overseeing both locations, both in Concord and Kannapolis. However, while the Concord Library remained under the management of the city of Concord, the Kannapolis branch was actually being managed by Cabarrus County. Now, in contrast, when the town of Mount Pleasant sought to open its own library in 1996, the Mount Pleasant community had to raise the funds necessary to open it independently. A dedicated group of citizens led the fundraising efforts for both the property, to purchase the property, and for the construction of the building. And in return, the county agreed to operate the new branch. All right, in the 1980s and the 1990s, that was a hugely transitional time for libraries. The introduction of new technology revolutionized the way libraries would operate and forced them to dramatically expand the services that they offered. This photo shows a staff member using the Concord Library's very first computer in December of 1984. I wish I still had one. It was only one of 5 in the state to be typed into the National Library Database in Ohio. It allowed staff to use a nationally standardized record-keeping system for cataloging and for requesting loans from other libraries. So with the arrival of computerized catalogs, libraries transitioned from the traditional index card catalog system you may have remembered from when you were a kid, into digital systems, making it faster and easier for patrons to search for materials. The adoption of barcode systems, scanning and automated circulation systems streamlined checkouts and inventory management. And as computers became more widely available, libraries began offering public access to them, opening doors for digital literacy, word processing, and early internet use. These technological shifts laid the foundation for modern library services, transforming libraries into information hubs, not just to provide books, but also for us to provide access to technology, digital resources, and other lifelong learning opportunities. Now, I will say that it did take Cabarrus County a few years to catch up. In 1999, it reported having 6 quote-unquote internet stations for the public to use. And it took until 2004 for Cabarrus County to implement a barcode system to catalog books and library cards. So 2004, that was the year that I moved here. And I remember coming into the library and seeing those big card catalog cabinets still on the floor. And it was perhaps 5 to 10 years behind the library system that I moved from. But there was a reason for that. Because ever since the Kannapolis Library, Mount Pleasant Library opened, there was talk of trying to consolidate the cities of Concord and the Cabarrus County separate kind of library systems. And that took time to implement. So that's, I think, why things were a little bit behind. So in September of 1998, finally, the city of Concord and Cabarrus County completed a merger of the 2 library systems, now under the control of fully under Cabarrus County. And the biggest reason for the merger was dealing with growth, not only population growth, but managing technology growth. The branches can be best served under one system that is now called the Cabarrus County Public Library. And although Concord and Kannapolis, if you see outside in front of the buildings, there's still signs that say, Charles A. Cannon Memorial Library. We now typically refer to them as the Concord and Kannapolis branches of the Cabarrus County Public Library. In 2001, on July 4th, Harrisburg joined the system. Like Mount Pleasant, the Friends of the Harrisburg Library had to raise funds for their building. The town of Harrisburg provided the land at its park, which, if you've ever been there, really makes for a beautiful location. That's a wonderful place. And in 2019, after years of having a mobile service, Midland approved the lease of a 2,000 square foot space with limited hours at the intersection of Highway 601 and 2427. And they opened their doors in February of 2019. Now it is open full time. In the past 6 months, we've opened 2 exciting library branches that reflect a modern vision for library services. In October 2024, a larger updated library opened in Mount Pleasant, replacing its original small facility to better serve that community's growing population. And then on March 12th of this year, we opened the largest branch yet, the brand new Afton Ridge branch, conveniently located behind the Target off of George Lyles Parkway. Both locations represent a new library model. Spaces designed not just for books, but for education, recreation, and community engagement. Both of these are designed as a larger community hub by combining them with active living centers. And in the case of Mount Pleasant, also a park. This approach reflects a shift in how libraries serve the public, moving beyond books to become vibrant multi-use spaces that promote wellness, connection, and lifelong learning. By co-locating libraries with active living centers, these modern spaces encourage intergenerational engagement and make it easier for residents to access a range of sources all in one place. Patrons might attend a fitness class, take part in a book discussion, receive tech help, and then socialize, all under one roof. This integrated model strengthens community ties, supports healthy aging, and ensures that libraries remain essential and inclusive gathering places for people of all ages. So here you can see all 6 branches: Concord, Harrisburg, Kannapolis, Midland, Mount Pleasant, and Afton Ridge. Your Cabarrus library card works at all of these branches. So don't be afraid of saying, oh, that's not my location. It's all right, part of the whole Cabarrus County system. And hopefully there is one located near you. So John will be speaking to you in just a minute about the library's digital collections. But if you visit the library, you will be seeing our physical collections, which are primarily made up of print materials that include books. And of course, there is fiction, nonfiction, and biographies. And we have a large print collection for those who might have difficulty with smaller print. We have graphic novels, which are books that combine words and images together. We have a Spanish language section. And we still have audiobooks and music on CDs for those who don't want to use digital devices. Also, we have lots of newspapers and magazines. Newspapers such as the Concord Independent Tribune and the Charlotte Observer, the USA. And we have a variety of magazines from Consumer Reports and Time to People and Our State magazine, which is one of my favorites. We still have movies on DVD for those who are not into streaming services. And I can't forget about the children's department. Grandparents love coming to the children's department to check out books with their grandkids and to participate in our story time programs. And each branch also has a book sale section where like new and gently used books that may have been discarded through the library or may have been donated to us are on sale for 25 cents a piece. That's a really good deal. So I mentioned that we have Spanish language materials, which reminds me that I want to tell you about our adult literacy services. Adult literacy is essential to the health, growth, and success of a community. Remember that word empower I talked about earlier? Literacy, whether it's for individuals who just need to brush up on their reading and writing skills or are learning English, it empowers those individuals and strengthens the workforce, and it helps break cycles of poverty. And to that end, we have a literacy coordinator who oversees a library for inmates at the Cabarrus County Detention Center, one-on-one tutoring, GED prep classes. There are English as second language group classes and tutoring for those who want to become citizens. And our coordinator could not do all of this without volunteer tutors. So if you're bilingual, or if whether it's Spanish or another language, because we have a lot of Spanish members here, also have people from all kinds of other places that need assistance as well. Or if you would like to help with literacy tutoring, please contact your library branch. I also have some information over there on the table if you're interested. So, I am honored to be one of the caretakers of a special collection that we have at the Concord Library. The library's local history and genealogy. It is a collection of reference materials where Leslie Kessler and I, and with the help of some of our other staff members, help people find resources to learn more about this place where we live, and for people to learn about their family history. So, just by a raise of hands, how many people in here are native to North Carolina? So, how many people are native to Cabarrus County? Okay, so we have a lot of transplants. So how many are people from other places outside of North Carolina? Wow, that's incredible. So I have a philosophy that no matter where you're from, I think it's important to know something about the history of where you live, because that makes you more connected to your community. So I encourage you all to find out more about Cabarrus County's history. You can come visit us. So how many of you may be interested in learning more about your family history? I love genealogy research because it makes history really personal. It's personal to you. It allows you to uncover the stories of those who came before you. And it helps you better understand who you are and the journey that your family took to shape who you are today. So,
I have a question.
yes,
Will you tell us what you know about the Lore sisters, and how that came to be?
absolutely. Those two. So the Lore Room is named after a couple of sisters. Their names were Eugenia and Adelaide Lore. Both of these ladies, their father was a Confederate veteran, and they lived in a house that he built down the street on Cabarrus Ave from the library. And both of those ladies, neither of them were ever married. They didn't have any children, and they spent their whole lives collecting information about Cabarrus County history and creating files. And Eugenia lived to be 104, and her
Wow.
sister was Adelaide, I think, was 98. And the files that they collected were the start of some of the collection for the history room. And so that's why, you know, lore has kind of a double meaning. It's named for the Lore sisters, but it also talks about family historical lore. So it worked out very nicely. But I'm happy to tell you that in the local history and genealogy room, we have something for everyone, whether you are born and bred here or whether you came here from somewhere else. For those who are researching Cabarrus County history, we have family genealogy books and surnames for folks that have been here since the beginning. We have newspaper files and records on a wide range of Cabarrus County subjects and businesses and organizations. We have maps and court records and tax records and cemetery records, church records, family Bible records, wills and estates, going all the way back to when the county was first formed from Mecklenburg County in 1792. We have Cabarrus County newspapers on microfilm going all the way back to the late 1800s. We have school yearbooks. We have city directories for the city of Concord. We have directories going back to 1902 and for Cabarrus back to 1940. And those are from North Carolina, but maybe not from Cabarrus County. We have heritage books from a large number of the counties across the state, and records for a lot of the surrounding counties from around this location. And for everybody, we have magazines and journals, genealogy-related magazines and journals. And what's really great is that we have these really great database subscriptions that if you were to get them on your own, would cost you hundreds of dollars. And they are provided for you for free through the Cabarrus County Library. The big one that I use on a daily basis is Ancestry.com. You are probably familiar with Ancestry.com. We have a library edition. You've probably seen ads for it on TVs and the shaky leaves. And they have a huge number of records on them. Everything from birth, marriage, death records, immigration records, all kinds of things that you can find on your family. Like I said, I also have a separate subscription that costs hundreds of dollars, but the library edition subscription is great for our library users. We also have newspapers.com and Newspaper Archive, the North Carolina editions of those. So those are digitized newspapers from across the state that you can do searches for them on by using keywords or plugging in somebody's name, and it will search all the newspapers digitally and bring articles up that have your ancestors' name in them. We especially like, so newspapers.com, it's mostly, those are newspapers that are out of copyright. So those are ones that are prior to 1923. But that's why we have Newspaper Archive too, because it has the Kannapolis Daily Independent on it from 1938 until 1996 when it merged with the Concord Tribune. And it has a lot of the same articles that also appeared in the Concord newspapers. So between the Concord and the Kannapolis newspaper, we have really good coverage for local. We also have Fold 3, which is military records. And that's for all the way back from the American Revolution up to more recent conflicts. So that's a great resource. We also have Heritage Quest, which offers some unique records such as Freedman Bank records, if you're doing African American research. It has U.S. Indian Census rolls, and also a collection of genealogy and other history books on there as well. And lastly, at the history room, we do a lot of programs, local history and genealogy related programs. Our Roots Roundtable Genealogy Group meets the first Saturday of each month, and we cover a broad range of topics. We also host other programs and events throughout the year. Most recently, we had a 5-week genealogy series for beginners called Heritage Hunt. And just last month in March, we had an author event to honor military veterans and to recognize the 50th anniversary of the end of the Vietnam War. So I invite you to pick up some of our local history and genealogy information flyers up there. And if you'd like, you can sign up for the email list. I promise we only send out an email once a month for folks who might be interested in local history programming. So
would be just a quick, I just have a quick question about ancestry, which I have, but when I want to go further, then you have to pay more. You're saying if I go to the main branch on.
you can go to the middle. So our databases, you don't have to come to the history room. They're available at all the Cabarrus County branches. So you just access it with your library card. Ancestry.com, you do have to be on location at your library branch.
Okay.
But the other databases you can access from home through our website.
Oh, great.
So, yeah, and I will say with Ancestry.com, the one thing that the library edition cannot do is you cannot build your own family trees on there. You can access other people's family trees, but you cannot build your own on there. That's because it's a public library.
Got it. Thank you.
But anyway, thank you, and I want to turn things over to John. He's going to
All right, well, thank you for letting us talk, and as you can probably tell, I am from around here.
Yes.
And I can remember when the library used to be across the street from where it is now. They tore it down, which the time they tore it down was like when every place everywhere was tearing down buildings. And creaky wooden floors that had a night suit in there, which is being a kid, you know, I love seeing that. And it had that cannon outside of it.
Right.
So I love seeing that. And I had parents who encourage us to read. My family reread everything from romance novels to sporting comic books, encyclopedias, everything. So that just I was instilled a love of reading from the get-go. And so it's probably appropriate after the ins and outs of life that I became a librarian and started working in the year 2000. So I've been there for 25 years. No matter what I try to do, they haven't got rid of me yet. So knock on wood, they'll keep me around for a while. So what I'm going to do in this portion of our program, I'm going to talk about some of our other library offerings and programs and the things that we have digitally, some things that we do. And beyond just books. So I'm going to begin by talking about some of our book clubs. We have a list of a flyer, some of the different book clubs that we have, and you can get those there. Each library branch has its own distinct book club. Some of them have titles, select titles, others have things that you can read your own things that they are based through genres and such. Now, at Concord, we have our book club each first Tuesday of the month. It's called Delve into Books, and we do we read things from different genres. Past month, we read Amy Tan's Backyard Bird Chronicles. Has anyone read that book before? Excellent book, so I highly recommend it. So we meet the first Tuesday of each month. Now, in addition to that, our library has closed this out, so it recognizes that. We have crafting programs. Crafting programs are very popular. We have crafting programs for all ages. The main one that we have in the Concord Library, we have the first Monday of the month, it's called Coffee and Craft. And I want to show you what the things that they do. Each month they have specific craft, and this past Monday, they had one where they made a Easter bunny picture. So what they did was that they took a page from a book, and that each person in the class painted a background for that. So each month that you can, if you're interested in doing crafting, you can sign up for that. It's really popular. It's coffee and crafting, so we'll have coffee there. So those are really popular. All over the ranch, we have them for all ages, from children up to adults. Very popular, and if you're interested in that, I encourage you to go sign up for that, look into it. You'll probably find something to enjoy yourself with. Now, our library, as Denise mentioned during her excellent part presentation, we outreach is active in the community. That's one of the reasons why both of us are here tonight, telling you about some things that we do. But we have other outreach programs that we do. We partner with folks. Denise talked about the bookmobile that we have. Now, our old bookmobile, we still kept through probably in the late 2000s, was an old bus. Maybe you've never seen that before. We don't have that anymore, but we have something that's called homebound outreach. And we're brochure about that back there. So if you have someone who may be in an assisted living center, or you have someone even in their own house who still wants to read, so enjoys reading, you can make arrangements. We can get the books that you're interested in, the authors that you're interested in. They can bring those to your house or to your facility if you're in there. So you have a loved one that is in one of those places, we'd be more than happy to come over there and to visit you and bring you things that you need. As you know, in today's world where so many things are available in technology, we meet those needs as well. We have 17 public access computers at the Concord location. Each library has its own number of computers that you can do to access information. You can go there, check your email, you can apply for jobs. If you're looking for a job, you can do your taxes on there. Anything you can do is you at our computers at each library. So you need a library card to do that, which if you don't have, we can issue you one here tonight. But we also, as part of our outreach, we will branch out and do computer classes. Here we have computer classes here. The first Tuesday each month, I see my friend Sarah back there, and she can, I don't mean to put you on the spot, Sarah, but Sarah's a faithful attendee. She still comes to my classes. I haven't scared her off. We teach classes and start with basic computers, go into internet, email, and then we do some of the applications we do, like Microsoft Word, we can Facebook. Next month, we're doing one on cool things that you can do with your computer, like things you can do with pictures and make a calendar for yourself. Accessing music, so we have those each month. First Tuesday of the month at 1:30 here at the Active Living Center. So you can ask someone at the sign up desk there, they can sign you up for that. But you can also get help at the library with, if you have a technological. We have a program that's called Book a Librarian. I think we have some flyers about that too. So you can talk to someone there. Let me sign back in right quick. You can arrange for a library staff member who will work with you up to an hour, with any kind of questions you might have about technology. We will be able to assist you to the best of our ability. And you can also help out and do things at the library as well. We have volunteer opportunities. We have a little flyer about that in the back as well. You can help us with assistant programs, you can show books, we can tell you about that as well. Right now, we're gonna go over our library's website, and this is it. For URLs, Cabarrus County.us/department/library. That's a mouthful. You can also go to Google, type in Cabarrus County Public Library. Don't necessarily type in Concord Public Library, because you might end up going to New Hampshire where it's Concord, that they mispronounce it New Hampshire. And also, it is a Concord Public Library in California.
Yeah,
Cabarrus County Public Library is the one that you want to do the, I think, I looked it up one time and I saw that I think there are like 35 states have a Concord. Now, they probably mispronounce it like they do in New Hampshire, but down here, we're in Concord. Concord, yeah. So they mispronounce it in California as well. So this is the library's website. Scroll down, we see we have different things that you can access to. You can see our calendar of events that we've got. We have the catalog that I'll show you in just a moment. We have things that show our programs. You can sign up for a library card on there. You can press a card online, and you still go into one of the library branches to pick it up. You can request books here. We have a materials request, which is asking us to buy a book, or it's something that we don't have in our location. You can also request through interlibrary loan. And the library loan is one of the things that I do at the library. So if you're looking for something that, a book that we don't have, or something that's obscure, I'm the person you want to come see to find that. In addition to some of the things that we have in these other tabs, we have our e-resources. They fall under what's called the 24/7 library. In the interest of time, I won't go through everyone, just give you like a sampling of some of the things that we do. We have access to us NC Live. That's the database from the State Library of North Carolina. Denise mentioned that we had representatives for there at our staff training yesterday. The State Library is in Raleigh for the early 19th century. This is like a warehouse and depository of information about this date. You have many things that you can find. You can have a magazine and journal articles and videos from PBS and access encyclopedias. So that you can find that from the research tab here. Career and job search, you can find access to things. One thing I wanted to mention that we have, if you're interested in digital and computer learning, you have the North Star Digital Literacy. That's an excellent program, universal class. There are 3 classes and over 600 categories. You can learn about computer technology there. But you can take classes on gardening, bartending. You can build up on your history. 600 classes, and they're totally free. You can learn at your own pace through there. Some other sites that you might find of interest, part of our e-resources and your hobbies and interests. We have Transparent Language Online. That is a language database where you can, once you have your library card, which you can learn to speak. I think it's over like 100 different languages. They have interactive exercises that can help you learn languages there. Denise mentioned the genealogy offerings that they have here. And the genealogy tab has access to different databases that you have throughout here. Yeah, that's access Ancestry Library, but of course, as Denise mentioned, you have to be physically inside the library to see that, but it may, all these other things and on the genealogy tab, in addition to, elsewhere from our e-resources, you can access on your home computer or on your device. If you give your home device, you can also get access to ebooks and audiobooks. We have different formats that we have through there. Now, our two main ebook and audiobook providers are Hoopla and Libby. How many are you familiar with Hoopla and or Libby? Libby is owned by Amazon, like much of the rest of the world is owned by Amazon. But that's an excellent resource. It has a lot of bestsellers and many things. And which is best looked at on your, you can download your app onto your phone for both Hoopla and Libby. So once you, we have troubleshooting guides in the back that can show you how to do that. And you can borrow up to 10 items a month through Libby. But one thing to keep in mind with Libby is that you still have queues and waiting lists, so you can be on the hold for something like for a long time. How many of you read Kristen Hannah's Women? If you got to the library, you're probably on hold for a while, but you can also get the e or electronic or audiobook through Libby. Get that. Now, what I want to mention, another one is called Hoopla. Now, everything on Hoopla you can get right then and there. So it's instant access to movies. You got TV shows, videos, music, all kinds of school stuff. But you're limited to 5 checkouts all there. But at the same time, everything is accessible on there. Like secret, it has like a rolling tab of things that come up there, like you watch Interstellar. There's one example that's on there. You can find. You can browse. Sample of what you would do with that, and you can go through the link to Libby's website, off the library's website. Then you can. Once you reserve something on there, you can download it, or you can access it on your phone or on your tablet, so you can listen or watch it right then and there. So once again, reiterate the difference between Hoopla and Libby. Hoopla, you check out to 5 items at a time. Libby, you can check out 10 items at a time. One more thing that I will show you from the library's website is you can get access to our catalog. He's mentioned the old card catalog, which I remember using as a kid, those index cards, but now, once you're on the library's website, you click search catalog, you can pull up the catalog and you can place items on the hold. So, what's the book you're looking for? It's just around.
Storytelling.
Okay. See where we've got that. So you type in the title that you're looking for.
Notorious.
So each we have two ones out.
Judy, good call.
Right now, as I see some of hers that are on there, we have the version that the Libby that you can find. They throw used to be the for the food fighters. You got his, which he calls storyteller. So we can
Can you see if you have Notorious?
Sure.
Maureen Dowd's
I can show you that one.
Notorious, yeah. Let's see. No, it's not it. It's not it.
you narrow it down to her names. So.
Maureen Dowd.
Yeah, so it's got something that's common, so I'm gonna type in her last name. Well, see, it's a new book.
Yeah.
Now, if it is new, what we can do is go back to the library's website.
If we had searched on Maureen Dowd, though, her books would come up.
Yes, let me show you how to do it. So you type in her name.
She's got. Look at her.
I don't know, they didn't want to get into politics.
I don't know if I'm gonna see anything by her.
You can narrow it.
Yeah. So I can look here, we can go into part of this, the office, ways you can focus in there. Okay. Yeah, this is like a brief overview of what the library's website looks like and how you can access materials of items, whole and surface. Of course, anyone at any library branch can be able to assist you. If anything that you want about finding books, downloading ebooks, audiobooks, researching your family history, anything else that you may be interested in. Okay, so have Lisa and I can entertain a few questions for a few moments.
You traveled to Midland, do you have questions?
Oh, no, oh, okay.
Are there any questions about any of the services that, might be, oh,
Yes, ma'am.
Linda?
I live in one of these communities, we have book clubs, and getting us copies will be difficult for the buck everybody alone. This is any way that, and I've been told that the libraries don't have enough copies of the books, don't have the books. Is there a way, how do we promote these specific books?
So we always, try to get multiple copies, but of course, you know, our funds are limited, so they can only go for a certain time. From the library, how you can request for us to buy materials, and so we will try to get that. Sometimes you can also find audio or electronic versions of those as well.
I tried the digital, and maybe we could get a contact for you.
But in Mecklenburg County, they have a system where they kind of rent books. Or buy, you know, when they know they're popular, they're gonna do something they're gonna want, and then they just keep them for a short amount of time. I don't know how that works, but I know they do that there. I didn't know.
We do something similar. If there is a book that is really popular or one that is in the book club, we do try to get some additional copies, but as I mentioned too, there are funds are limited, they can only go so far. So we try to serve the best general interest that we can.
Well, this is just temporary. They just buy them temporarily, kind of, and somehow sell them back or a rental thing or something.
Yeah, we participated in something similar before. We would get like extra copies of things that are really popular or that a book club is doing, but.
So Linda, could you contact John? Is something that they could do to get books or check on the number?
Yeah, we could do that. Since you said you were in a facility, you know, our outreach can try to bring items for you too. We always try to request to get as many copies of things that we can.
Real quick question,
Yeah.
can we cancel our Audible subscriptions? Our personal Audible, they're expensive.
You can, Cecily says, Audible, we know, like Libby is part of the Amazon universe. Now they may find more things in Audible, but Libby has a lot, and Hoopla have a lot of good things as well.
Right.
Now Vince has a question.
Yes, sir.
Actually, for a comment, I was at the Mount Pleasant Library this morning, and I love the idea that you have the center and the library all together with the fields and everything else, and that whole thing that you mentioned is with multi-generational. an intergenerational experience. That was phenomenal. Whoever came up, congratulations to the county commissioner, whoever came up with that idea. I did have a question about one of the things you brought up before, and that is citizenship training. Is that something that we can learn a little bit more about? We are.
Yeah, I would have you contact the library and ask our Aaron, a gentleman named Aaron is our
Aaron Flake.
literacy coordinator.
Okay.
And yeah, if you're interested in learning more about citizenship tutoring or yeah.
And then tutoring in general, because one of the things that's a foundation of our democracy is training and helping people with literacy. And I know that years ago, I was a tutor. Do they still have tutoring programs available where we can volunteer? Those of us who have some education background?
Yes, that is also done through the literary services. That
Same thing?
Who is the
Okay.
person who does decide the tutoring for people learning English as an additional language. But you also can do that as well for people who are later in life or learning to read or trying to improve their reading skills.
Right.
You can contact him and he can help arrange you to become a tutor and you can meet with someone to help with them. And they also have people who go visit folks who are in the jail and bring them books and they assist them with that as well. So
You have to know if you'll use that Frank Law tutoring program. That's
I'm
what I
not
did.
sure if that's
I did
the,
do that.
at one time, some years ago, they did use that platform as part of the literacy training. I think they've gone away from that now with the change of leadership in the literacy department. But they use something similar to, so you're not throwing just someone out, but they'll able to come in there and arrange to tutor different people at their pace and at their convenience.
So
We've got some great
I know you all
information.
have to close up.
Yeah.
Thank you. Information over here. This checking in has all of our, for all the branches, the programs that we have for the month of April. And help yourself, whatever.
And John and Denise will stay around a little bit after
Yeah.
we'll make our meeting, finish our meeting up, and if you have any additional questions, but thank you both very much.
Thank you.
for your great information. Okay, thank you.
All right, next on the agenda is minutes. No, this is meeting officers to give a brief overview of the duties of their position, because we are seeking new officers. Community activity report, recognition of candidates, and Mark Erickson in the audience. Mark, and invite them to stand and share their work with the public office. Mark.
Do you have anything to share?
We're sort of needing to move it along.
Yeah, we do, let's just have a quick update. You're right.
Yeah,
Thank you for-
one
appreciate
thing
that.
it is of interest, the bill to make municipal elections partisan in Cabarrus County has gone through a change in the wording. Annapolis is now no longer part of that bill. It's now supposedly a referendum as opposed to making them immediately partisan. And I was up in Raleigh for the election law standing House committee meeting. And as soon as we walked in the door, they pulled the bill. So but it's not dead yet. It could come back again. I'll keep track of it. There's another one out there that would change voter registration drives.
Oh, yeah.
That would only allow handing out sample forms that would tell people how to go and register. You would not be able to actually conduct a registration drive. So those are some of the things that are being considered in the legislature today.
Thank you for the update.
Anything they can do to make it harder.
All right.
But I think you can register at the library. Is that correct?
If we have the voter registration form that you can pick up at the library, we will still send them to the board of elections when they do the formal registration process. But we do have the forms there.
Okay.
Library range.
All right, now business meeting, officers to give a brief overview of their duties in this position following an official report.
We'll probably, just change that a little bit since we've got everybody
Gotcha.
coming back in the same position, so we don't need to do that. So if you just give your report, so we'll start with,
Start with minutes from Vanessa.
yes. No, not. Just give you an overview of the last meeting and where you stored the minutes.
Okay. Yes.
You might want to come in.
That's something. So pretty much everyone.
We had our last meeting on March 13th, and we had a total of 23 members here. We started our business meeting, but we had an excellent program. We had Adrian Maldonado, president of the Hispanic Caucus, a Latino caucus. And he discussed Latino voter motivation and exit polling alongside some current initiatives and future goals with this community. He answered questions, and we also had Alejandra from Johannes Precinct, who also gave us some ideas about forming a Democratic Latino chapter here in our county. The meeting was excellent. We asked questions, they answered them, and I'm gonna store these minutes on Slack under announcements.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, treasury report. Maureen?
Yeah, get you back in the spot.
Okay. Now I can't read this in the cover.
Okay.
No, it's okay. I can take my glasses off and read it. Thank you. We're doing pretty well. We have $725.31 in the checking account. We have $100 cash. Oh, and then we deposited $20. We only collected dues from 2 people last month. So we have $845.31. So we weren't going to go over all our duties this month. No.
All right,
Okay.
then, Ms. Joe, your report. Oh, my report is we need members. I'm trying to make sure we get 100 members in Cabarrus County. Do you know somebody that would like to be a member? Do you know somebody who have not renewed their membership? I have 10 people on that list. I want to go get their money, guaranteed, this week. Okay, so each one what? Reach one. Knock on the door. Just know what's going on in your community. I know Sophia knows some people. I know Wendy knows some people.
Lady just left that, but
Yes.
can't run after her though.
Yes.
I know her. I'm just gonna turn to that marquee.
Look at her. Each one, reach one. We need 100 members on that. We are going through we're trying to save democracy. 44 right now. So, but we need a lot more to renew.
Yeah.
On that list.
So we're waiting for some renewals.
Yes, I got 10 renewals I see on that list. So I'm gonna go get some people. All right. And don't forget to bring a friend to the group meeting, or like you said, introduce them to what? Online. Thank you. Woo!
Alrighty, for those new here, I'm Johanna Bacco, and currently the second vice president and in charge of programs. And I work very closely with a committee. I don't do this myself. I work with a committee with Dorsey, Ford, Vince Vezza, and Michael Hansen. And I think I mentioned this through other meetings, that we meet every other month and plan these programs for you, and always welcome your input. Now, with that in mind, let's see, for our next meeting, we will be working on elections, because we have elections coming up for this group, for these positions. Fortunately, we have all the positions, there's someone who had put their name in the hat. It's still open, and if anybody's interested in any of these positions, they're described in the newsletter, the duties, and you can reach me, and I will get you in touch with the right documents that need to be filled out. But all the positions right now have somebody that has stepped up, except for my position. So I'm asking everyone to think about that and get a name in place and put that in place so we can introduce that person at our meeting next month. And then June is the elections. So that's all I have from program updates.
Now, we got Miss Andy.
Yeah.
Oh,
Having to do with the elections, there are no nominations from the floor.
Right.
Gotta get your paperwork in.
oh,
Right. It's in the newsletter. Vincent said that many times. No nominations.
Unless
from the
you're
floor.
already have been an officer or are. This paperwork is for you to be vetted.
oh, I'm okay. Well,
Okay.
I'm Andy, and the third vice president is in charge of social media, communications, getting information out about what we're doing. And I'm also right now moving, I would like to move us to Blue Sky. One of the social media things that, because I think Twitter, we're kind of through with that. We don't want to do anything that Elon Musk can get his hands in, but that's about it. And you're all here because part of what the third vice president does is send out the mobilize, which describes what's happening, how to link up if you can't show up at home on Zoom. And that's it. Thank you.
All right. Yeah. Any questions?
Can I end up with something? So, I'm on the committee, the nominations committee for the county, Cabarrus County Democratic Party. And pleased to say that, several of the people that are nominated that will be running, for office are senior Democrats. Rosa Culver Sims is running for chair. AJ Clark, her first vice chair. Dorsey Ward, who's in this room, is running for second vice chair. Catherine Jeans, who's a young Democrat, is running for third vice chair, and Cheryl Brevard is running for secretary. That election is going to be held this month, April 26th, at the Concord High School. So all of you, most of you in this room are able to vote in that election, your delegates. If you were at the last meeting, the precinct meeting, you are eligible probably to vote, and I encourage you highly to be there to vote. I congratulate the folks here, I mean, Ingrid, for keeping this show afloat, keeping all of the officers. You have one of the best, I can tell you that, looking at the entire state, this is being recorded, one of the best chapters in the state. You have slipped a couple in terms of membership. Forsyth County is now the largest. They have got 75 members as of yesterday, so there's a bit of a challenge. You guys can get there, I know you can. I also want to take a moment to have a special thank you to somebody no one ever recognizes, and that's your treasurer. You have one of the best treasurers in the state. To keep the books, just everything is right on track. And I want to thank her, but I also want to thank the other officers, Jay Boyer, who was former president, and we know Jay, and we know, and our hearts go out with the loss of Susan and all you've gone through, but coming back and throwing your hat in the ring and making yourself available again. Andrea, your good work and your work at the state level, and Ingrid, your work at the state level as chair of the committee for the convention, which will be held on July 26th, Saturday, an online convention. And Jovaka, where is Joe? All the work that she's done, and Vanessa for stepping up and being one of the best secretaries in the state. And the new candidate that I had a pleasure of meeting, Cindy, where she's here. Yay. You guys rock. That's all I can say. All of you guys rock. So thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna mention the celebration of all April babies. Matthew White, Deborah King, Dorothy Davis, Viola Barrett, Orlando Jordan, and Joe P. Cole.
And
Happy birthday.
How old is Viola there? She's gotta be.
She's
Oh, she's
96.
97, 97 and 96. Yeah.
Like the president of her fan club.
So I'm asking the first one. He mentioned April the 26th. That's the county.
Yes,
Okay.
April 26th. July 26th is the state Senior Democrats Convention. It's a Saturday.
But remind us all about the county.
County convention is April 26th, which is also a Saturday.
And where
At
and
10
what time?
o'clock in the morning, 10 a.m. at the Concord High School,
Okay.
home of the Spiders, right? So,
Movie and stuff.
yeah. Mhm.
And then there's a town hall. Is there coming up a town hall?
Yeah, I'm working on that with the party and some other groups, and we're scheduling it for May 3rd at 4 at the, we have a lot more work to do to get this done, but we're scheduling it May 3rd, and it is going to be at the chapel at Barber Scotia at 4 p.m. And
Well,
I'll
we
send
met
stuff
at
out.
high school for the big precinct meetings. Terry or somebody told us that possibly a 2 town hall meetings coming up on April the 17th or April the 22nd. So those are all.
Not that I don't, yeah, no.
Okay, well, that was
No, he
a
actually,
possibility.
he actually said one or the other
Okay,
day.
I'm gonna vote yeah, that's all I remember. Okay.
He said one or the others and more
But
information.
neither one of those now, it's gonna be discussed.
The reason I moved there was because there were issues with getting permits or whatever for the train station.
We gotta wrap it up.
Okay.
All right, voting comments. Each one bring 5 people new to our group, so we can beat Wake County. Yeah. 5. How many people?
Foresight.
Who's got 5? 200. I'm kidding.
Ingrid?
members who haven't paid for this year, but
That's right.
paid last year.
Yeah.
And I think what happened was quite a few people wanted to go to the state convention, so they paid their dues, so they could go to the convention, but they don't have the incentive this year to pay their dues.
Ingrid? What about you?
So,
Ingrid, suggestion on that? Is there any way to break up the phone list of people who had paid their
yeah,
dues
I'm
last
gonna do
year?
this.
and we
I'm
could
gonna
do like
do
a
this,
phone
and
chain?
if you know somebody on this, contact them.
No, I'm talking about when we take the list that we've got,
Yeah.
break it up between the different offices, or anybody else who's want to volunteer, so we can just make phone calls.
Yeah.
Like I said, we-
So everybody
I
takes
just
5
drive by.
phone, if everybody makes 5 phone calls, you knock out that list in no time.
Okay, yeah, and I did, I do mine drive by, so I know I got to do that.
Next meeting.
I have sent out letters before.
Closing remarks. Each one bring 5 people. And remember, keep Cabarrus County sane, and we want to have a healthy democracy, so talk about voting to everyone.
That's right.
Here.
All right, we're going to announce the next meeting, May 8th, see you, don't meet me there, meet me there.